Hey everybody, it's me and Sterling again.
Morning, everybody.
Today's September 12th.
13th, isn't it?
Oh, is it the 13th? Okay.
It is. Yep. Because Friday was September 11th, honoring the memorial and all
That's
that.
right.
Right.
That's right. So you have some announcements?
Oh, yeah. A quick little housekeeping things you always get taken care of at the top of the show here. So the contest is still running. Just want to mention that. Linda now is at 36,500 subscribers.
Thank
So
you.
we have 500 more subscribers to go till we pick the next winner of the half-hour session reading with myself. So I think that maybe by next week we'll be up to the next 500.
Awesome.
That's good. I also want to thank everybody for the quality of questions that we're receiving. The 600-700 questions we're receiving every week. Very high quality, a lot of thought put into them. So thank
Yes.
everybody for doing that. And I guess I also want to assure everybody that Linda and Daniel are trying to select some of the best of breed questions that we can to try to address as many issues as we can. And if your question doesn't get answered one week, it may have already been answered, or we'll answer it in a future week. So I would say hang tight. We'll try to get to all of them.
Okay. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready.
Speaking, are you ready? I've been watching that In Living Color reruns. That was a funny show.
Oh, and a lot of good stars coming out of that, including Jim
Yeah, a
Carrey.
lot of very famous Jamie. What's
Yeah.
his name? Jamie.
Jamie Foxx,
Jamie Foxx,
Jennifer Lopez,
Jennifer Lopez,
Jim
and
Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
And boy, that Jim Carrey was always in character.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Number one, from the other side, Beau Biden. Does he have a message for us?
So this is a request that came through this week, and so brought through Beau Biden. And what was interesting about Beau was that he actually felt that his passing was timed at a critical time that would help the U.S. and help his father with the whole presidency. So it wasn't an accident. But
Wow.
from the other side, one of the things he told me he's doing is he's got a very good purview, I'll call it, into cheating that's going on in areas that are going to be susceptible to critical cheating in the election. And then Beau, from the other side, is alerting other people, not just his father, but other people in power, to make sure that those areas don't get overlooked. So it's
Okay.
almost like angel thoughts he's putting in people's heads.
Right.
And then he
right.
also, at the end, he said his stepmother is going to be a wonderful first lady. So.
Oh, thank you. Okay. And then he has his other family over there too, his wife and his daughter.
He does, yeah.
So, or his real mom and his sister for
Right.
Beau. Okay. Why did the Surgeon General, the head of the CDC, and the head of the FDA, and the head of the infectious disease all stand with 45 and let him lie and deceive the country about the truth pertaining to the virus, which, by the way, we've been slammed with the truth thanks to Woodard's book?
Yeah, so unfortunately, this is a bit of a scenario of weak individuals and what I call a herd mentality. But these individuals receive threats against their not just reputation, but their families and loss of their jobs. So they took the weak way out,
Yeah.
and they decided to kind of not come out publicly. So yeah, unfortunately, a lot of weak people that were afraid of what they might lose. So instead of what the
I
nation,
often felt Russia was part of the cause of people getting threats.
they were a baseline of some of the threats some of the families received.
Okay. What is the impact of Woodard's book on the Republicans?
That was of all the books that have come out on 45's presidency, that was one of the most impactful now.
Especially because there's tapes.
Yeah, and what's happened now is that it's actually really aligned a lot of the healthcare industry, healthcare workers, and also the military, solidified them against 45. So it actually helped. The other thing that the Woodward book did was it was the revealing of the audio tapes that solidified, the fact that you can't lie around audio tapes when you're saying, that you hid the virus from everybody, the pandemic. Yeah.
Right. He doesn't want people to get upset. But in the meantime, rapists are coming over the border to.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Will Barr get away with moving the rape trial against 45 into the DOJ and having the government pay his legal bills?
So, I mean, the answer is no to that. This is the case that's been going around in the New York courts for Jean Carroll. It was E. Jean Carroll.
Yes.
that lady who was raped in the New York department store. So no, I mean, Barr's not going to be able to kind of circumvent the New York courts. It's going to move ahead. I don't think we're going to see it move ahead significantly till after the election. It's in process, but we'll see a lot of it come out public. And they're also telling me the good news is that they're going to get several DNA from several areas. They're trying to get 45's DNA, but they've actually got family members' DNA, which then keeps it moving through the New York courts because they can justify we have the DNA, it's in the family, and so that keeps moving it through.
Well, you know, if he was innocent, he would offer that DNA in the New York Minute.
Exactly, along with his taxes.
Yeah. In the light of wealth disparity and other factors facing our planet, what is the future of capitalism in this country?
So capitalism is going to stay around. It's an underpinning of our economic and political, programs in this country. So it's going to stay around. But what is going to happen is that the pendulum's going to shift more towards now people paying their fair share. So that's corporations that have not paid any taxes because they put all into R&D. Well, I get it, but that means you still have to pay some part of your taxes.
Right.
So the pendulum's going to shift, but capitalism will still be around for a long time to come.
There is a new or renewed movement for People's Party to be fully involved by 2022, 2024 in elections. Will this new party be successful in challenging the old ways?
So it's not going to be a significant new party per se, and replace Democrat or Republican Party per se, but a lot of platforms from that party will become part of the Democratic platform. So a lot of things that Bernie Sanders was behind and all that will become part of the Democratic platform. Yeah.
And I see that QAnon as a nothing burger. I see it just. I see that one gal get in as a congressman, but I almost feel as soon as she's in, she says enough that her own people remove her or ask her to step down.
This is a fantasy developed by kind of the radical right.
Russia.
So, yeah.
Do you feel there may be a will there possibly be another stimulus check to the American people? And do you feel there may be an extension of Unemployment Cares Act that was $600 a week earlier this year?
So I do see, and I've seen this in the past, that actually there will be an extension of the CARES Act. It will get passed, and they told me it was the month of September.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. And I initially thought it would be like middle of September. Maybe it's like the third or fourth week, but it'll be September. And it looked to me like the supplemental amount won't be 600, but it might be something like 450 or 500. So it's a little bit of a negotiation there. It may not be the full 600, but it'll be an amount. So we'll see it come back again.
Okay. Are the California fires being ignited by outside forces using modern technology such as laser beams?
I don't see lasers causing the fires, but what I do see is a large number of people that have they're out to kind of hurt some of the blue states. So there's a little bit of a contingent of fires being set by human beings.
Yeah, they arrested one guy.
Right.
For setting fires in Oregon.
But I don't see lasers. I don't see lasers on the ground or lasers from space or anything like that.
Yeah. Can the rainforest be saved and replenished?
It's a good one. It's a good one. The good news is one of the things the pandemic has done, I think you and I talked about this in the past, is not only is it a reset for a lot of things in the world, but it also was a pause. So a lot of things that were contributing to greenhouse gases and things like that stopped. And so the scientists worldwide were able to kind of see the change it was going to have on the world. So the big effect is that now the green policies going forward are going to help the world, and the rainforest, like the largest ones, the Amazon rainforest, will be restored. But it's not going to happen overnight. It could easily take 100 years to get restored. So in a number of decades, I think we'll see a nice restoring of like the Amazon rainforest, the many rainforests around the world.
Good,
but maybe it's 100 years by the time it all gets restored.
Okay, will Pence pardon 45 if he resigns after he loses the election? Pence is the VP.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Well, I was thinking Biden, but no, it's Pence.
Yeah, right, right. Uh, they're certainly going to try. And, for me, this is almost what my guys are just making a reference to, almost like Laurel and Hardy. So they're almost going to try. But I do see Congress and the Supreme Court stepping in almost when that's trying to happen to say, wait a minute, before any of this goes down. So it's not going to happen in the end, but I think they're going to try.
Okay. In climate change, a runaway train, wait, is climate change a runaway train, or is there hope for the future? You just sort of discussed that.
Yeah, it's not a runaway train, and scientists are getting a real leg up now and kind of understanding the effects of climate change and carbon emissions and everything worldwide. So we'll get a handle on it.
Will the next Supreme Court justice be a Democrat or Republican?
So we've touched on this in the past, but the good news is there will be actually 2 Democratic justices appointed to the court, but it'll be Ruth Bader Ginsburg that'll be stepping aside, and then it'll also be Brett Kavanaugh that'll actually be.
Oh yeah, they're going to get rid of him.
He's going to run into some trouble for lying to Congress, and so that's going to create 2 vacancies that in next year we'll see 2 Democrats join the court.
Okay, cool. What is going to happen to Alex Jones and his Q conspiracy?
Like a lot of the radio shows and conspiracies, that's going to fall by the wayside as we get out into next year. So it's been a little bit of a circus act, right. during 45's presidency, but it'll fall by the wayside.
Good. If a loved one has passed and been reincarnated into a new life, can one still pray or talk to the past loved ones? They
can. And so here's the interesting part is the soul's energy is still the soul's energy. So they exist in 2 places at one time.
Right.
So while you communicate with them, you're still communicating with who they were and how you knew them on the other side, even though a reincarnation may have taken place. So the soul's energy is still the same. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Will there be murder or manslaughter charges for 45 or Pence because of the virus cover-up?
Unfortunately, in the end analysis, it won't happen. And a lot of that's going to happen because of the presidency, the way it's laid out. But there'll be a lot of lawsuits. There'll be a lot of lawsuits, a lot of litigation, trying to assign liability. There will be some people that will be fall guys for it, but I don't see the say 45 getting convicted of manslaughter necessarily. Yeah.
I see they'd love to, but I see him. He's going to get pretty sick after all this is over. But the other thing I saw was Steve Miller sitting in a box and them asking him questions like he might be up on charges of something.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be deposed. Absolutely.
Yeah. Are the past, present, and future lives all happening at once as stated in the law of one books? If so, do my actions in this life create an effect in my past and future? Dolores Cannon, I think, talks about this too.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, good quality of questions. Good
yeah.
No. So the answer is no. They don't. Past, present, future don't all exist at the same time. Time is non-linear on the other side, but it doesn't overlap. That's the key. So it may move around and be non-linear, but it doesn't. The past doesn't overlap with the future. So the answer is no to that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. How many in Trump's administrations have sold out to Russia? Will this become public knowledge after the election?
Yeah, it will be. And, there's still a lot of financial records that are going to be released out into the public sector. And the financial records obviously going to lay a lot of groundwork for how the money moved around with various people in Congress. So, yeah, I mean, the answer is yes to that question. It's all going to be uncovered. But I think the answer was how many in the Trump organization?
A lot.
Well, yeah, it's a lot to be scientific.
I mean, they're asking like Kennedy and all these people, what do you think about that? What Trump said about the virus, he knew all along. All those Republicans are acting, well, I haven't read the book. It's on tape. You just turn on the news and it's on tape. Because there's like TVs in every single room in that White House. It's on
Right.
tape. You can hear it on tape, and they're trying to act like what because they are the blind leading the blind. They just don't want to know.
They are. And by the way, my guys have said in the past that it's easily 1/3 of a lot of the Republicans in Congress have taken a payout from Russia for campaigns or whatnot. So about at least 1/3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is cryptocurrency the financial way of the future in the USA and the world?
So two answers to that. Cryptocurrency as we know it today will not be the future of the banking industry, but the core technology, which is blockchain technology, which allows redundancy of verifying transactions. So blockchain technology will become part and parcel in the core of the banking system going forward, but not the cryptocurrency as we know it.
Okay. Um, who are shadow people? Are they good or bad?
Shadow people are I'll call it underdeveloped spirits that are a little bit earthbound on this side.
Yeah.
So they don't have the ability energetically to show their in complete form like you and I, or to see an angel. So they're a bit lower energy form and a bit earthbound. So that's why they block the light, but you don't see a full apparition.
Okay. It was just discovered that the administration took $4 million from the 9/11 funds that pay for the care of first responders. How many other government departments and agencies have they stolen money from?
I think, Linda, this is your scientific world. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. But a lot of money has been diverted, not just the $4 million, but from many sectors of the budget to fund things that weren't approved by Congress, including more building out the wall. So,
Okay.
you know, not
Oh,
just the
well,
4
the
million.
court said he can't take the money from Pentagon. He still did.
Right. So there's a very deep, there's a lot of moving around of funds behind the scenes, not just the 4 million for other purposes that weren't approved by Congress.
He went through all his money for his campaigns.
He did.
$800 million. You know, a lot of that went in his pocket.
Right, right.
Is it true that there was another planet in our solar system eons ago before being obliterated into what is known as the asteroid belt?
Yes. And, you know, for me, it looks like there were maybe even half a dozen planets, as many as 6 different planets that blew up or destroyed over time to help create that asteroid belt. So not just one. And the question was, there one? I see half a dozen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Do you still see the New York Times leaking 45's tax returns?
I still see a direct connection to the New York Times. And this is where it always was a little sketchy for me. It looked like it was somebody affiliated with the New York Times, could have been a reporter, somebody that was working for the New York Times and since left, but then went a little rogue and has the financial records. So I still feel
Okay.
this individuals,
So it's a leak.
it's a leak. They're waiting for the right time to expose it. Yeah.
Can we manifest what we want by visualization, feeling, scripting, etc.?
That's a great question that speaks to kind of the core of manifesting. So how you kind of work with the universe and work with your guides to manifest. So sure, all those things you just mentioned are all part and parcel of being clear and concise with your guides and working with the universe to manifest. So the answer is yes. Yeah.
That which is likened to itself is drawn. You cannot recreate what you're not. You can fantasize, but if you vibrationally are not a match, it won't come. If you always have that negative, you're always in fear of not having money. Sure enough, guess what? You're always short on money. It's almost being able to, like you said, go to the guides, disconnect from it, have assurance from it, and vibrate in that level, and it just starts coming to you.
Absolutely.
Is North Korea planning an attack on South Korea or Japan?
You know, Kim Jong-un at one time was planning an attack, but it was put down by China and by the US, believe it or not. So actually they stepped in. But here's the interesting part. You and I have talked about Kim Jong-un before. His time on the planet is not very long, so I think before long, I think he will pass. And
Well,
I
his
saw
sister's running things now. I truly
right,
believe he's on a ventilator somewhere or brain
exactly.
dead or something.
And I think when the sister takes control, that's not going to be a factor, but she'll only be in power for about a year. So.
Okay. What kind of civilization lived on the planet Mars?
And it's interesting, was that a past tense lived, like past tense?
Yeah,
Because what's
lived
interesting
on the
is there,
planet. Like, do you think they're
you
still
know,
living there?
that's the interesting part because I heard the past tense to that question and they're actually still living there. So I think there's at least 3 or 4 different alien civilizations that still inhabit Mars. And what's interesting is I think we've even had US scientists visit Mars and there's still installations there.
Wow,
So yeah, this is all going to come out, I think, over the next 5 years. But
cool.
a lot going on there.
That sounds like a Steven Spielberg or Ron Howard movie.
Probably, yeah.
Will a lawsuit be filed against Fox News or any of its commentators for being complicit in spreading misinformation about the virus and causing the deaths of thousands of Americans?
A couple things I pick up are going to happen there, besides kind of a colossal change in their scope and their management team, but they're not going to be taken into court or litigation per se. And here's the reason. What they're going to plead is that they followed the executive in charge, the president, for a lot they did. So how are you going to litigate against them kind of,
With him
regurgitating?
admitting on tape he lied, but they didn't
Right.
know he was lying.
Exactly. That'd be a very hard case to ever win in court, I think. Well, the president said it, so we mouth what the president said. So,
Right, there you go. Is there such a thing as lizard people?
what kind of people?
Lizard people.
Oh, got it.
I think one of my ex-husbands was one of those.
Okay. Love it. For me, I think what they're referring to is reptilians, which are one of the
Yeah,
alien races, right?
right.
Reptilians. And what's interesting is that they do exist. They've been seen, reported, recorded. And I know there's even confirmations here, and I hear it myself when my guys are telling me Area 51 for many years has had reptilians deep below the base. So you can
Okay,
go 7 or 10 stories below the base and there's reptilians there, yeah.
okay. All right. But, you know, I don't know human lizard. I know there's lizard extraterrestrials. So,
Right, so I don't know about lizard people and reptilians I know about.
okay, yeah, yeah. But they look like they got lizard skin, these other entities. Do you see anything coming up for next week?
What they're telling me is still a lot of chaos around what I'll call phase 3 trials for a lot of the pharmaceutical manufacturers trying to get into human trials
Yeah,
for the COVID vaccines. But I feel they're getting pushed by the White House pretty dramatically. So I see almost like several pharmaceutical manufacturers moving ahead saying we're going to start phase 3 and almost by the end of the week backing off again because
right.
they're working off of pressure from the White House and saying, wait, we're not ready. Because I think the board of directors are going to get involved at the pharma companies and say, wait a minute, that's a huge lawsuit if you do that. And
Right. And they all signed an agreement that they wouldn't move forward unless they thought it was safe.
right. And I think one of the pharma manufacturers this week, it came on the news where they pulled back their phase 3 trial because there
Yes,
was
they
a
did.
final,
Because
was that
someone got
final?
sick,
Right, it
but
was
they actually
final.
started it up again.
Right. So I see that happening this week. I also see some medical reports coming out for 45 based on some of the visits he had at the hospital,
Okay.
from some of the cerebral things that were going on, right?
Yeah.
So I think some more medical reports coming out.
Okay. Do you have any information that your guides want to share? Something
They
peaceful, I hope.
they do, and my guides are always talkative, and so are yours. But one of the things they're highlighting this week is that everybody kind of focus on how you manifest. So that's a really important thing because you can almost manifest anything you want in your life if you're clear and concise and consistent about it and you kind of work with your guides and work with the universe. So rather than being, helter skelter and a lot of chaos, focus and really kind of envision what you want, and you can make it happen. So
Right.
manifesting.
And a
Topic.
lot of us, and I tell this to my clients all the time, you have to be the observer, like Eckhart Tolle says, be the observer of the thinker. Go into your God's head, your God spot. So that means, that vista, when you see a beautiful vista, you get that high.
Mm-hmm.
That's that energy that if you can focus and just get out of your own way, get out of your ego, vibrationally, it changes you. So then it gets to where you're a vibrational match to what you want. And boom, it starts happening. Because we as humans, we overthink things.
We do.
And we're constantly doing, if you breathe and give it to the powers that be, because we all have the force in us, and say, look, I trust you and I know this. That's like I did with cancer. I said, you know what? If I die, I die. If I don't, you tell me. And that's when my awakening happened.
Absolutely. But I was just going to mention one other fact is that, part of manifesting, when you work with the universe and you align yourself with what you want, it's your angels and your spirit guides to put angel thoughts in people's heads to say,
Yes.
hey, help Linda, or call Linda. So, I mean, there's help they give you from the other side as well to help you manifest what you want.
Exactly. Like I was standing in my bedroom and I heard that male energy say, you're going to do a YouTube video. That's like, you crazy. I actually argued for a second.
They didn't tell you.
They said, Linda, you'll help calm people down.
Right.
But I get flashes now. I can see things. Like almost as soon as I read it, I see things. So they're kind of working overtime. We're looking forward to just getting this doggone thing over with.
Yeah, and it's going to be a rodeo after election night. As I tell everybody, be prepared for about 4 weeks. It's going to be a rodeo where he may even claim victory and throw a tantrum and lots of things going on. But we'll get through it.
I see him throwing a tantrum, but I see it's a nothing burger. He can't keep it going because he loses by such great numbers. By that time, the mail-in votes will be counted, and it's going to be huge.
Exactly.
So I'm looking forward.
All right.
I do feel it's going to be overwhelming how many people didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's a close call. That could just be me, but I might even be wishing it. But based on the cards and what they say, it just feels like it's not even a close call. And they will try to cheat big time.
Oh, yeah. They have a lot of programs in place already to try to cheat. So they're ready to go.
But we got people in place already, too.
Sure we do.
And did you see Bloomberg is given $100 million to Florida for us to fight in Florida? Right.
So, I always thought Bloomberg is a very important backing of the whole democratic process.
Me too, because he would show when I would read. I thought he was going to be president. Because he would show.
He was so prominent because I saw the billionaire being part of the presidency. It looked at first that maybe he was going to be the candidate, but now it looks like he's instrumental in Biden's campaign. So
yeah, and he wants them out.
Absolutely. He knows 45 very well from New York.
Okay, you guys. So we'll see y'all next week.
Absolutely.
And be sure to. And we'll put. How do they get in touch with you? Plus, I'll put it in the box.
Sure. SterlingPsychicMedium.com.
Okay. So easy, but I still get confused.
Exactly. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, you guys.